So for lesson 18, we're going to solve some multi-step word problems modeling with tape diagrams. Okay, so there's only 3 problems, but they're multiple steps. So we're going to take our time and really break them down carefully. We're going to make sure that we have a tape diagram. We're going to solve it with numbers, and then we're going to write our answer as an answer statement. So for question number 1, we have, in 1 year, the factory used 11,650 meters of cotton. 4,950 fewer meters of silk than cotton. Again, I see this word fewer, that's a big clue. And 3,500 fewer meters of wool than silk. We need to know how many meters in all were used of the 3 fabrics. Okay, so looking at what we've underlined and circled, we have an exact number for cotton. But for the other 2 fabrics, we have the word fewer. So we don't have exact numbers, but we have differences. So we have cotton, so we'll line that up. So 11,650. Okay. Now, next we have silk. Now, silk's a little bit smaller of a bar, okay, because it's 4,950 fewer. So that number is going to go there. So we don't have an exact number of silk, but we know it's this much fewer than cotton. Okay, so now next we have wool. Okay, now wool is going to be a little bit less than silk. Okay, and we know that this part right here is 3,500. Okay, so if we were to take the edge of silk, follow that down, so we know we're this much less than silk. So now go back to our question. We need to find out how many meters in all. So that means we need to combine the 3 fabrics. Okay. So now, in order to combine the 3 fabrics, we need to add up the 3 measurements. But the problem is we don't have measurements for silk and wool yet. So what we got to do is start off with silk and find that measurement, and then use that to find the measurement of wool, so we can then go through and add up the 3 measurements. So we got a few steps we have to do here. So let's first find out the measurement of silk. So we have to take 11,650 minus 4,950. Okay, so we're going to subtract this out. Okay, get to our hundreds place, and we need to decompose. 16 minus 9 is 7. 10 minus 4 is 6. Okay, so that tells me that silk is 6,700 meters. Okay, well, next I need to now use that to find for wool. So now I'm going to take that 6,700 and I'm going to subtract 3,500 from it. Okay, so that I can get the measurement for wool. Okay, so now we get 3,200 is the measurement of wool. Okay, now we have a measurement for each fabric, and we can go through and add all those up. So we're going to take our cotton, silk, and then wool. Now again, when we're copying down these numbers, make sure you are lining up all the numbers in the correct place value. Okay, so now we can go through and add these up. Okay, 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 2 is 15. Okay. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 6 is 8, plus 3 is 11. Okay. So we get a total of 21,550. Okay. So 21,550 meters of fabric were used. Okay, moving on to number 2. The shop sold 12,789 chocolate and 9,324 cookie dough cones. Okay, notice these are both exact numbers. Now it sold 1,078 more peanut butter cones than cookie dough cones. Okay, well now we get a comparison here. And 999 more vanilla cones than chocolate cones. What was the total number of ice cream cones sold? So we have 4 different kinds here. So let's first set up what we know. So we know we have chocolate. It's 12,789. Okay, we know we have cookie dough, 9,324. Okay, now peanut butter is our next one. Now peanut butter is 1,078 more than cookie dough. So I'm going to draw a bar for peanut butter that's a little bit more than cookie dough. And we can label that as 1,078 is the difference. Okay? Alright, so then we have 999 more vanilla than chocolate. Okay, so now for vanilla, I'm going to make it the longest bar. Okay, and following the end of chocolate down to my vanilla bar, I can see that this part right here is 999. Okay, now we want to know what's the total number of ice cream cones sold. Okay. So now again, we have exact numbers for 2 of our cones, but not for the other 2. So let's first find out the measurements of each. So now peanut butter, we're going to take the 9,324 from cookie dough and then add 1,078 to it. Okay. And we add that up and we get 10,402. Okay. So our total here is 10,402. Alright, so now, so that's peanut butter. So now for vanilla, we're going to take the 12,789 from chocolate, and we're going to add 999 to it. Okay. And we get 13,078. Okay. Alright, so now we have exact numbers for all 4. So now again, now we can find our total number by adding up our 4 values. Okay, and again, make sure you're lining up the numbers correctly in all the right place value. Okay, and we got a lot of numbers to add here, so we're going to be very careful as we go. Okay, so 9 plus 4 is 13, plus 2 is 15, plus 8 is 23. Okay, so now 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 2 is 12, plus 8 is 20. Okay, 2 plus 7 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 4 is 16, plus 7 is 23. Okay, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 9 is 13, plus 3 is 16, and then we have 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, so we get 4. So we get 46,303. Okay, so they sold 46,303 cones. Okay. All right, moving on to number 3. In the first week of June, a restaurant sold 10,345 omelets. In the second week, 1,096 fewer omelets were sold than in the first week. So again, we see fewer. In the third week, 2,000 more omelets were sold than in the first week. Okay, so we're comparing the second week to the first week and the third week to the first week. Now in the fourth week, 2,000 fewer omelets were sold than in the first week. So we want to know how many omelets were sold in all in June. All right, so let's set this up. So we've got our 4 weeks. Okay, now we have an actual value for the first week. Okay, so 10,345, and everything is getting compared to this first week. So the second week is fewer. I'm going to draw a bar that's a little bit smaller. We know it's 1,096 fewer. So this part right here. Okay, now the third week, we have 2,000 more than the first week. So now I'm going to draw a bar that's a little bit more. Okay, and we take the edge of the first week, draw a little dotted line. We know it's 2,000 more than that. Okay. All right, so then fourth week, we have 2,000 fewer omelets. So now I'm going to take fourth week, I'm going to make it smallest. Okay. So if I take this end of week 1, right here, this I know is now 2,000. Okay, so we're 2,000 fewer than week 1. Okay, so now again, we want in all. Okay, but we only know the exact value of week 1. So we got to go through and find the exact value of 2, 3, and 4. then add that up. So again, we have multiple steps here. So for week 2, we're going to take our 10,345 minus 1,096. Okay. Tens place, now we need to decompose again. Okay. Alright, so week 2, now we have an actual number of 9,249. Okay. Now we need to find week 3. So now week 3 again, we start with the amount of week 1. Now this time we're adding 2,000 to it. Okay, so pretty quick and easy. We get 12,345. Okay. Alright, so now finally we have week 4. So we're going to take our 10,345. This time we're going to subtract 2,000. Again, it should be pretty quick and easy. And we get 8,345. Okay. Alright, so now we have an exact value for all 4 weeks. So now we can go to our question here and find out in all. So we're going to take week 1 again, week 2, week 3, and then week 4. Okay, and we're going to add these all up. Okay, there's a lot of numbers in here, so again, make sure everything's lined up in the right place. So we have 5 plus 9 is 14, plus 5 is 19, plus another 5 gives us 24. Okay, so I know I see 4 4s here, so I know 4 times 4 is 16, plus 2 more gives us 18. Okay, 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12. Okay, 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 2 is 12, plus 8 is 20. Then 2 plus 1 is 3, plus another 1 is 4. So we get 40,284. So the restaurant sold 40,284 omelets in June.